everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Last week on my WW video where I talked about the snacks, I said that this week I was going to share with you some of the tips and tricks that I feel have helped me with my WW Blue Plan. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name's Marlene. I am 64 years old. I have lost, at the time of this recording, I have shed 54.5 pounds. I started August 24th, so I'm getting there slowly but surely. But for those of you that are just starting out, or maybe you just want to get back into it, I thought I'd share what has really helped me shed this weight. After 60, it's not always easy for us. I certainly am not losing weight like I used to when I was 20 and I was able to shed the weight so quickly. Before starting, I do want to remind everyone that I am not a nutritionist or a healthcare expert. I am not a dietitian. Please check with your doctor before you begin any weight loss program. I am simply sharing with you what has helped me on the WW Blue Plan. And perhaps these tips will help you regardless of which plan you go with. When I did the quiz, I was placed on the Blue Plan because my preference is eating vegetables and eating fruits, and there are quite a few. I believe there are more 0-point foods on the Blue Plan, but I'm not real familiar with the other two plans. So if you're just starting out, once you take the quiz, the system basically places you in one of those plans. All right, I have 7 tips here that have really helped me, and hopefully maybe one or all will help you. Of course, we all have, our bodies are different, and maybe what works for me may not necessarily work for you, but I thought I'd share. My very first tip is watch your points. I track my points. Everything that I eat, I track. When you're on this program, you have that app. It's very easy to use. You can scan any foods. You scan the barcode, and the points are right there. Very few foods that I have come across that are not in there. And to enter them, it's very simple. You could just scan it, and it's entered, and it'll tell you the points per serving. Sometimes we tend, at first I would go over my points, and I would still track it, because when I saw it, that just jolted me. Okay, I went over my points, so let me get back into it. It's better to track everything, because all you're doing is lying to yourself. So I didn't want to lie to myself. I tracked everything that I eat, and that way also when I went to weigh in at the end of the week, it wasn't a surprise. Okay, so I gained a pound this week, and I did everything perfectly. No. Oh, I can go back and I can see that on this day I ate 50 points. Well, I didn't do that, but you get what I mean. So track everything that we eat needs to be tracked in order to stay on track. My number 2 tip that really helped me was always making sure that I had my phone with me going to the grocery store. I scanned everything. I still do. I scan, and then I place it in my cart. If I see something that a food that I want, and the points are too high, I won't put it in my cart. I'd rather say no once than bring it home and constantly be seeing that food or that snack in my refrigerator or my cupboard, where then I have to say no 20 times. So I'd rather say no once. And the way I say no once is scanning it at the grocery store, figuring out, okay, I could have 5 of these. This is not a temptation food for me, such as the Lay's Poppables. that is not a temptation for me. I could have five and I'm fine. So I looked. Okay, 30 is 6 points or 7 points, whatever it is, and I know I could stop at five. So if it's a food that's a temptation for me, I won't buy it. If it has too many points, I won't buy it because I know that if I bring it home, I'm going to be tempted, or I'm just going to have to be constantly saying no. Once we reach maintenance, I think it's a little bit different. But because I'm still on that weight loss mode where I still want to shed another 40 or 45 pounds, I want to make sure that I don't bring anything home that I'm going to be tempted with. Say no once instead of having to say no 20 times. My number three tip that has helped me is I weigh myself on the same day every week. I weigh on Thursdays. That's my day to weigh. Sometimes I'll sneak in and I'll weigh myself on a Tuesday or something, but I don't track it. I only track on Thursdays. The other part of this is that on Tuesday and Wednesdays, I make sure I have 22 points. Those 2 days I kind of stay around the 15 points, and I make sure that I eat my vegetables and not have a lot of snacky stuff. I kind of leave that for the weekends. I don't think that weighing on a Monday is a good idea because the weekend is the day that I might take some points from my weeklies and have it. Maybe I'll have the glass of wine, maybe I'll have a cookie, maybe I'll have a cup of pasta. But I save that for the weekend, and then the 2 or 3 days before my weigh-in day, then I make sure that I follow my plan. My number four tip is not to restrict myself. Don't restrict myself. Don't deny myself, because in the long run, I think it's just going to hurt us. So I feel that we have to love what we eat what we love. And if you feel that, okay, I don't like vegetables, or I don't want to eat cauliflower rice, I don't want to eat fat-free cheese, then I don't think we should. We have to eat something that we are comfortable with eating, something that we love. For me, I have no problem eating that fat-free cheese. I don't have any problem not eating regular rice. I like the cauliflower rice. I could eat that for the rest of my life, and I'm very happy. But if you're not, instead of having maybe a whole bowl of rice, maybe just have half a bowl, or have half a cup of the rice. Whatever you love, just have it in the small portions. Remember, we get those extra weeklies. When we eat vegetables, we'll get some additional points. When we walk a certain amount of steps, we'll get additional points. The drinking of water, half a gallon, will give us some additional points. I try not to use from those points every day, but once a week, I usually have about 55 to 60 weeklies at the end by the time the weekend comes around. So I will have something that I love. I'll have a glass of wine, or I'll have, I don't know, instead of a pizza, instead of having 2 or 3 slices of pizza, I'll just have 1 slice. I try not to draw from those weeklies, all of them in one day. But I'll draw from them. I'm not going to deprive myself. I know they're there, and I just try not to reach out to them too often, and not during the week. Try to save it. And if you don't like that fat-free cheese, then eat regular cheese and just count those points. If you prefer to have the rice or prefer to have the pasta, instead of having a big bowl of pasta, if I go to a restaurant and they bring out that big bowl of pasta, I love fettuccine alfredo, I love gnocchis, I love all of that. I tell them, bring me my carry-out. And right there, I just portion out a small portion, about a cup, and I put the rest to take home, and then I portion it out once I get home, and I freeze it, and then once a week I'll have it. But I think it's so important that we don't deprive ourselves, that we don't deny ourselves, and that we eat what we really love. If I didn't like fat-free cheese, that's the only thing that I could eat for the rest of my life. So bring in the foods that you love, the foods that you can say, okay, I could eat this for the rest of my life. I could eat regular, I could eat my rice, or I could eat my pizza or my pasta or anything else, but we're just going to do it in moderation. My number 5 tip is drink the water. I drink half a gallon a day. I wish I could drink a gallon a day, but I don't. This is what I think this one holds like 74 ounces. And that will give me, I think it's 1 weekly a day. So I save it, or maybe I use it in the same day. But it's very important. It flushes out our system. It keeps us regular. And I think, and water's so important for you. And along the water, sometimes just drinking regular water can be a little bit difficult. So what I do, I put my bottled water here, but then I also add a bottle of the sparkling ice, or 2 bottles of the sparkling ice, to give it some flavor, whether it's the lemon or the blackberry raspberry or whatever it is, whatever flavor you like. That counts as water, but yes, I got lipstick on it. But it gives it a little bit of flavor, and you're getting your water intake. I think that is really helpful. My number 6 tip is to have ready-made foods, whether it's that I cook ahead of time and I save them for leftovers where I just have to grab them, or I make a chicken in the oven and just shred it up and have it in the refrigerator, or get the Tyson ready-made chicken breast that's diced or shredded or in strips. Have those foods on hand. If you love to cook and you have the time to make a bigger batch and just break it up into bags, I think that's a great idea, because that way we're not grabbing for foods that will probably put us over the point, or snacking when maybe we don't have the point allowance for the day. And my number 7 tip is to move my body. I found at first I was losing that weight very slowly, but then in October, when I got Phoenix, I would have to go out and walk him. And first I started out, okay, just walking to the corner or walking to the other corner. Now I go around the block twice, and I do this about 4 or 5 times a day. So now I'm about at 10,000 steps a day. By the time 6 o'clock hits, I've already walked 10,000 steps. And if walking is not your thing, maybe a stationary bicycle, going out and working in the garden, and where you're standing up and sitting down and just moving. I think moving is what's important and really helps. I think that has helped me tremendously on this plan. If you have some tips and tricks, something that you do that have helped you stay on your plan, that has helped you in your journey on your weight loss, please share it down below. I think that we could all benefit from it. We could all learn from each other and help each other on this journey. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here next week. I have to go and visit with my mom, who is having surgery, so I'm going to go and stay with her for a couple of days. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get a video in for next Wednesday. If I can, I will certainly do that. I want to share some recipes with you, and just some quick meals, either for breakfast or lunch or dinners. Some things that I have on hand that I think are really helpful. All right, everyone, thank you so much for visiting with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. And don't forget, ladies, follow your passion, whatever it may be. I'll see you next time. Bye.